Welcome to Ask Brien. Thank you for joining us. I am your host today, Patti Handy. Peter is out. I believe he's in Hong Kong, traveling the world. So I am here in studio with my friend Steve Korn. Introduction will come in a moment, but I want to share Ask Brien and what we are about. Ask Brien, it's Brien. It is a website for business owners, by business owners. So what the website offers is help and advice from various experts who need help in their business decisions. So if you are a local cleaners or you have an online business and you need some guidance, whether it be legally or financially, insurance-wise, various experts are there to help you. It's a really cool website. It's free to the business owners, so a great, great resource. It's being recently launched, so it's still growing. So make sure you check back often. If you are an expert, make sure you reach out and become an expert on that site. So if you want to reach out to Peter, there's a link in there to do that. But make sure that you do go ahead and introduce yourself as an expert. So that's what we're about. So the show is, again, for business owners, by business owners. And I have in studio a friend of mine who has been a very successful business owner for many, many years. Steve Korn is the owner of Newhall Escrow. And I just noticed that we had a 55-year anniversary. But let me formally introduce...
I need you to have a vision. So I'm 56 in August.
Ah.
And I was working in diapers.
You started very...
Yeah.
Okay, there's a vision. I
like
that.
I all the listeners out there, just visualize that.
Woo, yeah. So you have been employed in escrow since 1990. The Newhall Escrow Company was established in the Newhall area of Santa Clarita in 1963. And you transitioned to the owner in 2004 and has since grown the company to be one of the premier escrow companies servicing northern Los Angeles County, and then, of course, Santa Clarita, San Fernando, and Antelope Valleys. You are very active in the community. I know that from just knowing you personally, which is great. You give back by serving on the foundation, the board of directors of the College of the Canyons, as immediate past president, as the foundation board of directors, chair of the first year Promise campaign, member of the Wine Studies and Building Capital campaign for the Institute of Culinary Arts, member of the Chancellor Circle and patrons of the arts community. So your resume is impressive. It is long, and it's rather than go on to too much more. Personally, you've been married for 24 years to Carla, and you've got a daughter, 22, Chelsea, and she's now working with you, correct?
Yep.
So the
legacy continues.
The legacy continues.
Third generation.
That's a beautiful thing. So we are speaking to business owners who are looking for guidance. Tell us. Let's start off with. How has Newhall Escrow been so successful for 55 years? What do you do differently than any other escrow company out there?
Great question. And before I forget, I wanted to mention that we've had 3 locations of the business. The very first location was about 2 doors away from this studio.
Oh.
On this street.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Coming back home.
Right. And then our second location was over off of Arch Street, over by 13th, and you go back in Clarita Canyon, and then our current location, which we built the site, and you might see our advertising for our 55-year anniversary thing, where we have a picture of the actual lot, a dirt lot on Lyons Avenue, and then the framing of that building, and then of course the building as it was then and as it is now. So
wow, how fun!
Pretty cool, yeah.
To watch it grow. Wow.
Yeah, very proud of that.
I bet.
Patti, to answer your question about, well, first, thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this. I believe in giving back to our community, as you know, and I think anything we can do as business owners to help each other is essential to success. And I think that's the crux of what Newhall Escrow's success has been. My dad, I came into business in 1990, he was involved in Rotary, which I got immediately involved in. He was involved in pretty much anything else that was going on in the community as an essential part of being in business, because, you had to be aligned with the bankers, you had to be aligned with the lawyers, and aligned with all the people that were in the community doing business to be in business. Mm-hmm. We got away from that for a while. I came into business, and as he was, falling back in the horizon of his career, I noticed that people had lost sight of that, myself personally, and I made a decision early on to get involved in about everything I possibly could get involved in, and I did that to get to know people. I wanted to find out a way that what was the best way I can learn who the players in the community are, where the biggest need is, and where my time is best used. And so I got involved about everything I can get myself involved in, which was a fast track way to doing it. And as a result, it catapulted me into a spirit of serving. So when I think about that, in the escrow business in particular, who do we serve? We serve the community, we serve our buyers, our sellers, and our realtors, and our lenders, and ourselves. And I think that one thing I brought along with me is a spirit of giving and serving others in the highest capacity possible. And with that becomes a dedication to knowing what you're doing, being serious about what you're doing, and doing it with a smile. So, technically speaking, what we do differently from other escrow companies is simply, years of experience of transactions that we have in our library, if you
You've
will.
probably seen it all, haven't you?
Yeah, I really have. I mean, it's interesting because recently I was referred to as the guy that handles the most difficult transactions. Well, that's good. That's really good, but sometimes it turns into an old man fast. But I appreciate that idea that if you have something that's very difficult, bring it to us because we'll take care of it, and or at least we'll do the best we can to unravel it. And we've approached those challenges with much success over the years. I think the other thing that's important to what makes us different than other companies is efficiencies. I guess it goes without saying that you better be good at what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. But how can you do it as efficient as possible so that that you don't have any avoidable things fall through the cracks?
Yeah.
So I created a process. Actually, I brought it with me from the telephone industry, where everything was visual and everything was process-oriented. When I came into business, my dad would operate an escrow file that was 4 inches thick and had, from visual indicator, there was no organization to it. Just a bunch of papers meshed together, right?
Oh, boy.
But that was his style. That was his method, right? I couldn't deal with that. I had to have a system and a process for everything I did. So I brought in systems and efficiencies and processes, which to this day have become the standard for not only Newhall Escrow, but for many other companies where employees have come in my company, learned a Newhall Escrow way of doing things, and moved on to other companies. And I've learned that because I've seen their paperwork. I've had my peers and my colleagues say, hey, you know what? So-and-so does the same thing you do. I said, well, guess who taught him that? You know? And so it's humbling to see that. It's a good way of doing things. And so I have to say that our efficiencies, our experience, and the way we treat people, I think, is what makes us different.
That's great. I think I heard a saying once that the greatest compliment is when somebody copies you. So if somebody's if what you're doing is working so well that they want to copy you, that's a really good thing for you.
I have a hard time with that sometimes. I do appreciate that, but dang it,
it's still.
I work so hard at these innovative ideas, and they just rip them off,
Yeah.
But I do know this much, and this is true across the board for any business. And any business owner listening, or any person that will be in that position in the future, is nobody will do it as good as the person that created it. Period.
Right, because you know it intimately.
Well, yeah, what's in your heart?
Absolutely.
It's part of you. It's part of your fiber. You created it, you thought about it, you executed it, and you did it. And you're right. Somebody taking the idea, and I'm okay with give away information. And quite frankly, I'm a supporter of helping my fellow escrow company owners succeed. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's important in our business to be good stewards of what we do.
Sure. There's enough business for everybody to be successful.
True.
So I want to back up a minute, and you talked a few minutes ago about the serving and giving back and being involved in the community and networking and I always look at that as just building relationships, and I think that being in the mortgage business myself, it's a very highly emotional transaction. There are people from the first-time home buyers who have no idea what the process looks like to the seasoned investor who are doing 1031 exchanges and that not, and it's a lot of moving parts between the loan and the real estate side and then the escrow side, and the emotions are high. And I think that your ability to keep clients calm, to communicate, to help them understand the process, that is huge. And I think that once you build that relationship with them, they refer you to everyone else, and the realtors who continue to use you are the same thing. They're like, oh my gosh, Steve has this thing down to a science, and he's great with our clients. I know when I refer out to various people, I want to make sure they're in great hands, because that referral is a reflection of what I do. So same for you. So building those relationships, and I think that people see that it's genuine with you. It's not a business transaction. It's about a relationship. At the end of the day, it's how well do you feel knowing you put your head in the pillow and that you've helped somebody and that you made a difference in that person's life. So I think that's something I applaud you for.
Thank you.
Just having that. 'Cause I think people can sense when you're not genuine.
For sure.
The transparency is like, okay, it's just an energy, whatever it is. I think people can tell. So I think that's huge. So. For a business owner, let's kind of come back to the business side. For a business owner who's starting something new, okay, whether it be let's talk about a brick and mortar type company, and they're trying to launch a business. Having watched your dad launch his business, and you talked about networking, getting out in the community. What other suggestions would you give to them as far as getting known?
Right. Well, getting known is one thing, Patti, and I'll comment on that for sure. I think there's some other things that go into the mix that are very important. So let's talk about the activities that a business person should get involved in to help them establish themselves in the community they want to serve. Being an active member in I learned this the hard way. When I first started my career, I got involved in everything, and I figured out, I couldn't be everything to everybody. So out of that,
and have a life.
Right. Well, but out of that, I figured out where my interests were, and where I could be the most effective in my time. And so I was able to back away from a lot of things. Still believe in some of them, but back away from some of those things and apply my time where it made the most impact. So for a business owner who's kind of trying to make an impact in the community, is take a look around you and find out what is important to you and align yourself with other people who have the same vision or want to give back in a certain way. I also believe, veering off of the giving part of this for a minute, is to align yourself with people that can be of assistance to you. It's no secret that we all benefit from surrounding ourselves with smarter people than we are, right?
Absolutely.
So you definitely want to get a board of advisors, whether they could be a competitor, could be your banker, could be an attorney, could be an insurance agent, anybody that's smarter than you, been in business longer than you, who cares about you, and you can count on them coming to you and being honest and giving you direction is essential. As soon as you can get that happening for you, get it going.
That's a great advice.
Yeah. And one more thing that helped me when I first became an owner of a company was I affiliated myself with a leadership organization called Vistage. And that is, if anybody's listening to this and you're a business owner and you're looking to take yourself to the next level or become better at what you're doing, Google Vistage International, VASTAGE. It's changed my life. It continues to change my life every single time I go, which is once a month, closed door meeting with like-minded people who are either key employees or owners of companies, large and small. Each group is chaired by usually a retired, successful business person who has a lot to give. And I honestly don't know where I'd be today. Not that I'm anywhere great, but I'm where I'd be today if I hadn't had Vistage help guide me, not only personally but professionally.
That's great, and I'm sure you bring your wisdom to them.
That's the whole idea.
You brainstorm.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And Vistage, so you know what it is, it's a place where you, as an owner or a key executive of a company, bring your issues for solutions, and it's done in a way that you're going to walk out of that exercise with a plan. You're going to be held accountable to executing that plan, and they're going to be people that are be on your side and shepherding you through that process. So not like here's the idea and we'll see you later. It's like, no, here it is. Here's how you do it. Here's how we suggest you do it. If you need help, call me. I'll be there for you. I'll come to you. Whatever it is. I got 15 people in my Vistage group that if I called them on my cell phone right now and said, I need your help, they'd be dropping what they're doing and come to me in a second. But
that's great.
And that's a resource that's not widely known to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never heard of that. Is that something that's here locally in Santa Clarita?
All over, yeah. Well, it's all over Southern California. It's nationwide actually.
Okay.
And there's multiple groups in the Greater Los Angeles area. So there's several members of Vistage that live and work in our community. My group in particular meets all over Southern California. And what we do is go to different members' offices. So my group has a member that lives and works in Bakersfield, and we got people out in Westlake and people in Burbank and Glendale and some people here in Valencia, and we just move it around, So take one day out of your life every month and just turn your phone off. And it's funny because if I have a hard time coming with issues sometimes, but I get my gas tank filled by being able to give to others by helping them. You walk out of that meeting exhausted,
but yet energized.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool part is we have speakers that come in that discuss topics of the utmost of importance of a business owner. And what's really, really interesting about that is my very first meeting I went to, I didn't really know what to expect. I walked in, and the speaker that day was the world's expert in a particular area of importance that was affecting my life the most significantly.
Wow.
It's like God was looking at me going, hey, man, here it is, buddy. Well, yeah. And it keeps happening that way every single time. It's all relevant. It's really a trip. So I just think it's synchronicity to the max. But so taking a look at your community, and if you don't know what's important to you, okay, so pick a couple things and try it out. Go visit some chambers of commerce events, get to know people, and if you're that kind of person that doesn't find that easy, then look to somebody that that loves you and cares about you, and say, and that is that way. So could you help me introduce me to people, a chamber event, or let's go, to this function in the community, and can you help me? And there's hundreds of people in this town that are more than willing to do that.
This is a great community.
And the people that get it, the business people that get that, that's what they live for, is to be able to help people. I know that's in your fiber, Patti. That's all you're all about.
Yeah.
So I know you get that. But the listeners here need to know that, to answer your question.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a big proponent of being with people who are smarter than you and who have that same, as you put it, fiber of wanting to serve, wanting to give back, not just money driven. It's just about how we can make everyone rise, how we can make everybody better at what they do. Because as we become better, whether it's through personal development or just more seasoned in our whatever career we're in, we're able to serve our clients better. So we lift everybody up, and I'm a big proponent of that. The other thing you mentioned about being involved in the community and finding something that you love. I've always heard, and I'm involved myself in some nonprofits. There's a nonprofit that you have a heart for, whether it's Michael Hoffman, or if it's Cancer Society, or whatever it is that touches you personally, get involved with that. Whether it's
100%.
Being on the board or just going to events. And
well, the cool thing is you meet people that are on the board that are there to do the same thing you're doing, and they're struggling through their businesses, they're struggling through life, but they're there to give and serve. And so when you align with them, and there's and pretty soon now you have 15 friends that you can call upon at different times for different reasons. They're all there to help you because they understand that you are a person that wants to give too.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't want to forget to mention, forming a small advisor group, aka mastermind, is important. I like the idea of getting some trusted advisors around you and maybe some key clients. And have a monthly lunch with a set agenda that quickly moves through, what's happening in their lives and their businesses. You share what's going through your life and your business, and ask them for guidance. Happy to give back, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's a great way to get started.
I think a mastermind with, and I've never thought about clients. That's a great idea because they've experienced you,
right?
And they can give you some feedback that may or may not be something or positive or negative. I mean, it's all way to grow. So that's fantastic. I know that you do some work, and we're going to go to commercial in a minute and come back, but you do some work with the College of the Canyons and some leadership program, and I want to talk about that because a lot of what you do in teaching youth can apply to the grown-ups of the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And as adults, we're always learning. I'm a big proponent that we're always in school. We're always learning, and I think that when we stop learning is when we start to die, mentally and emotionally and everything else. So really important to stay really involved with what is happening in the world. I'm a big proponent of personal development. I think Jim Rohn said that the most important thing you can do is work on yourself more than your business, because you bring yourself to your business. So as you work on yourself and become better, your business will grow. And you
I
will
believe in that 100%.
be a better person. So you're listening to the Ask Brien Show on KHTS, your hometown station, AM 1220 and FM 98.1. We'll be right back.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Step into a hot shower or slip on a warm t-shirt fresh from the dryer, and you can feel the comfort natural gas gives us every day. For over 100 years, Southern California Gas Company has provided safe, reliable natural gas service. It warms our homes, powers cleaner vehicles, and cooks our food at a fraction of the cost of other energy sources with less environmental impact, today and for decades to come. Natural gas, part of the clean energy solution. Learn more at SoCalGas.com. Search solution.
At the Burrito Factory, their motto has always been to serve quality food with fast, friendly service. But did I mention the taste? When it comes to authentic taste and huge mouth-watering burritos, the Burrito Factory is second to none. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or a catered event, Burrito Factory has the taste of Mexico to satisfy your craving. Burrito Factory on Soledad Canyon Road next to Chi-Chi's Pizza in Canyon Country. Stop in or call ahead 288-0222.
At City of Hope, we don't believe the future can wait for the future. For over a century, we've been advancing science that saves lives. From 4 of the world's top cancer-fighting drugs to the development of synthetic human insulin. We are maximizing the potential of immunotherapy and making precision medicine a reality. It's not enough to promise future cures for cancer. We must find them sooner. We are the miracle of science with soul. Find out more at cityofhope.org.
Welcome back to the Ask Brien Show. I'm your host, Patti Handy. Today, Peter is out in, I believe, Hong Kong, traveling the world. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS 98.1 FM. I have in studio today Mr. Steve Korn, who's given a thumbs up to us Facebook Live folk. In fact, we are on Facebook Live. I forgot to mention that earlier. If you have any questions for Steve or myself, feel free to ask them. You can also listen to us on the KHTS app. So you can go to your app store and download that app, and then you can listen to us anywhere in the world, which is exciting. So we're talking with Steve, who is the owner of Newhall Escrow, just celebrating their 55-year anniversary. And he's 29, so go
there you go figure.
Go do that math. We're talking about just getting out in the community and how a new business owner can get launched, if you will, and some of your suggestions that you've shared. I want to come back to your work with College of the Canyons, and you've worked with some youth and doing some courses in leadership, and a lot of the lessons that these leaders, young leaders, are learning are applicable to us old people. So I think that whether you have an existing business, a new business, whether you're young or old, we can learn from these skills. And like we talked about off air, I'm a big proponent of always learning. So tell me a little bit about what you do with College of the Canyons.
All right. So, College of the Canyons, first of all, I can't speak enough about it. From a educational institution, I hate that, I really hate to even say this, but, 20 years ago, that organization used to be referred to as College of the Crayons. It was an extension of high school, And then maybe at one time it may have warranted that to some degree. But I can't imagine. Dr. Van Hook's been there for 30 years. I'm sure anything she's touched from the minute she's been there has been improved. So
I agree.
So thankfully for her and her leadership, we've transformed ourselves into the leading community college in the nation in terms of a lot of our educational opportunities for students. We have the University Center right on the campus where you can get a 4-year degree, a master's through 8 different 4-year colleges.
Love that.
We have the Culinary Institute of arts there. You can learn how to get a degree in cooking and wine studies, and I mean it's crazy,
That's
so
awesome.
it goes deep. But what's happening is we're really delivering some great programming to the students there, and our our numbers of students are increasing every year because of the quality of the education we're offering. We've got our local high schools understanding that this is probably a better decision for their students to go to than a 4-year when they're not sure what the career is going to be.
Absolutely.
Why would you want to go to a 4 university, get yourself immersed in debt, and come out and not know what your life is going to be? Direction is okay. So
huge, 1,000% agree with that.
So we're working hard at that, and we're very successful at that. And so I served as the immediate past chair of the foundation, which we raise money to fill the gaps. Okay. Most notably, the First Year Promise campaign, which we're paying for the first year community college for any high school graduate that qualifies in the city of Santa Clarita.
Beautiful.
Okay, more to talk about that in a minute. I serve on the Chancellor's Circle, which is a group of business leaders come together monthly and then quarterly when we talk about business issues. It's another way for business owners in town here to get involved with this college. It's serious and it's really effective. The students are taking notice, and they are really advanced. The students in our college want to organically learn more faster and get into the world quicker than you and I probably went through school doing, where we were being dragged through totally right. So they're focused, they're energized, and they're passionate, and that's a lot to do with our faculty as well, because we breed that. The faculty brings that to those students. The students looked up to the faculty, and the faculty really goes out of their way to make a difference in those kids' lives. I've witnessed it personally. I was brought into a group. They have clubs on the campus. You name it, every possible interest you can be in. One called the Hub, which meets out in the Canyon Country campus, and they asked me to come in and talk about leadership. And I thought, okay, well, leadership. I know how to talk about leadership, but how do you address leadership to a bunch of students? And you don't really know what their interests are. So I thought, well, let's talk about it from a blanket perspective. And my big topic was networking. Now, when I talk about networking, everybody moved their hands underneath their butts, and they weren't willing to put their hand out to shake it. Have a hard time looking up at me, making eye contact.
Right.
But by the end of the day, they were all high fiving and shaking hands and exchanging information and taking pictures, and it was good because I showed them that. Nice. I got them convinced that networking is not the old exchange business card, talking about your 30-minute elevator pitch,
right.
and then walk away and forget about the person.
Here's what I do. Here's my card.
Blah, 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 blah,
yeah.
blah. Okay.
Right.
So I talked to them about networking. What that meant. Networking meant gathering, meeting like-minded people that were interested in what you're interested in, creating a society, and creating a group of people that you can talk to, think with, and do good works for. You know what this group's number one fundraiser is? They're raising money for the local veterans.
Oh, I love it.
They're raising money to send into an African country to provide equipment and supplies for students. Planting trees. That's what these guys are doing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So talk about.
Wow.
Yeah. So and there's a spirit of giving everywhere. We have the Rotary Club has groups inside our local high schools that are raising these kids in the Rotary way to understand what it's about to give back. So as a result of this,
love it.
The students are learning that networking is not about passing out business cards in a 30-second elevator speech. Mm-hmm. Networking is creating a group of people that they can count on to get help from, have fun with, and experience life with.
I love that. I love that. That is, it's so empowering when you see, especially the young minds, taking that and owning it. And realizing at that young age that giving back is a huge part of life. And it's not just about acquiring stuff and acquiring money and cars and toys and things, because that seemed to be the mindset, for a long time. So I love the fact that we're seeing that shift.
You know what they loved the most about my time with them? Was when I gave them your copy of your book.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah. That makes me feel good.
I did it as kind of like a raffle thing. Like, okay, we're gonna do a little raffle thing and I made it fun. I had copies for everybody, but I made it appear like I only had 2 or 3, and they were like fighting to get to it because I told them how important it was, and how it can impact their life. And it got there. Some of the kids were not totally focused, as some kids aren't.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to that, man, they were like looking up, and it was all hands on deck.
I love that.
That was awesome.
That makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Well, testament to you to go out of your way to do that for those kids. But
that's cool.
I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to be able to give them that resource. And you know what's even better is when they send you a note and say thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because you got through to them. They're gonna be all right.
Yeah, and that you can improve their life with this information.
True story.
And true and just create that peace of mind, because that is huge. So in this leadership training and networking, is there any conversation? I know with the typical networking, like we talked about, it used to be, here's my card. I remember hearing a saying once, it's more important to be interested than interesting. Mm-hmm. So what about the conversations of when you're meeting new people, asking them all kinds of questions about them and not talking about yourself, but just...
So the feedback I got from those people were mainly, number one, ask lots of questions. And I said, and I asked them, I said, now when you ask questions, stop talking. Yeah. Let them.
You have 2 ears and one mouth.
Let them answer.
Yeah.
Be interested. Don't think ahead of the situation. Be open to what you're hearing. And if something they say, you can, if they say they're struggling with something or they have a problem or they can't understand a certain topic or they're having a difficulty sitting in class or whatever it is, and you're good at that class, then your job at the end of that conversation is say, I'm willing to help you. Can I help you? That's my skill set, man. I'm all about that particular subject. I'd be happy to help you. And look at you like you got two heads on your shoulders, and they go, "Really? You help me? Yeah, I'll help you."
Someone's going to help me for free? What the heck?
Yeah. So, and the other aspect of leadership from the youth perspective is getting involved. I didn't have to really preach that too much because they were already involved, but it stands without saying that it's always something that should be of importance and discussion for all the adults listening who are in a position to impact the life of a student or a young person. Mm-hmm. You got to help them, and not just talk about it, but show them how to do it. That would be the key thing that I can say as a business person or a leader to share and develop others is not only just to talk about it, but show them how, invite them.
Let them be your shadow.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great opportunity to build the next generation of leaders, is to show them how to do it. Bring them into your world, foster their development, give them a great book that you think it worked well for you, and you think is on their level, or even above. What doesn't matter. Let them make the decision if it wasn't right for them. But that's the thing. You have responsibilities to make sure that when you're giving guidance, that it's well positioned. A lot of people that I witness outside of the education world, or the world of knowing how to give direction, is they speak over people without understanding who their audience is. It's important to understand what the capacity of the person's understanding is. So when I sat in that classroom, and I started talking to these students, and they're all distracted to get their handheld device in their phone, and all of a sudden I knew some things that I can get their attention, so I did that, and all of a sudden they started looking at me, and pretty soon we're having a conversation. Now I got it.
Now they're equal. They're friends.
When I asked for a volunteer, I got no volunteers. By the time the thing was done, they all got their hands in the air. We're in.
I love it.
Well, they got engaged. But because I showed them, I did role playing. I got them up out of their chair, front of the room, and showed them what a typical exchange was. Hi, I'm Steve. Hi, I'm Patti. Nice to meet you. Firm handshake. Look them in the eyes. You know what I mean? If somebody hands you a business card, don't just put it in your pocket. Look at it and understand it, and make sure you interpret what's on there. Make a comment if it's cool.
Ask a question about it, or
yeah.
I think that's great. So any business owner who's tuning in and has young adults on staff or thinking about hiring young adults, some great takeaways here. Teach them about the networking and what that really means today. Not the old, here's my business card, elevator speech we talked about. Getting them involved in the community, teaching them of the giving heart. Looking at ways that they can reach out and make a difference. And it helps not just them personally, but your company as the business owner and the community, of course. So it's a win-win-win. So great tips for sure. Is there any feedback from the kids that they've ever given to you? Have they come back like 2 years later? Or how long have you been doing it with them?
It's about a year and a half now.
Okay, so have anybody come back to you afterwards? And
not yet, because they're still going through the educational journey. But I can tell. I make it a point. Even down to the Girl Scout level when they're selling cookies. My wife cracks up because I walk up to a table and there's a bunch of girls sitting there. I hold court with those kids. Okay, so what troop are you from? And what are you guys raising money for? And which one's the best cookie? What's the new cookie? How many are you going to sell? And of course, you get 7 girls in a line, and they all back up and leave one hanging out in front. And she becomes the spokesperson, and the moms are cracking up, right?
You're going to make them earn that money, right?
Yeah, man. If you're going to come to my front door, this and that, you're going to try to sell something, I'm going to put you through the motions. But at the end of the day, the parents are going, thank you thank you, like that was cool, because a lot of people don't take the time to do that. And I'm just giving back to them. I'm just having fun and, letting them know that I think they're important and teaching them a couple things. And it's fun for me too, It's
I think that's.
But I want to say one more thing about the community. There's a lot of opportunity for young business people in our community right now. The 40 under 40. There's another, there's a junior chamber of commerce. There's Next Gen, which is a networking group that brings in CEOs of companies that age group is in line with. That brought it from an idea in a garage to something that's really happening right now. So there's all kind. You just got to put yourself out there and open your eyes to the possibilities of what's out there, and look and get involved. And I know this generation, the 20-year-old to the 30-year-old. That's the generation entering into the business community. It may be foreign to them because they don't teach that in college.
Right.
So us as parents, as business people, as leaders, as Girl Scout cookie buyers, we need to instill those things into those people at any opportunity we have.
Yeah, I agree. I think that especially with technology today, technology is it's a necessary evil, but it takes people away from being that social. And these groups you're talking about bring these young adults together, hopefully with their phones at the door or the car or somewhere outside, so that when they're there, they're fully present and they're having those conversations and they're really engaged in that moment, not on their stinking phones.
I'm a study of the Gen X, Gen Y, Millennial. Okay, I study those.
Okay.
And I found that for the most part, across the board, anybody that's younger than a boomer needs to believe in the mission of which their company stands for, or needs to believe in what they're doing. They need to have input and buy-in to the issue at hand, or they're going to get disinterested. I look at resumes right now of people that are in that age group applying for jobs, and they've got 15 jobs in 5 years.
Wow.
And that tells me that that employer didn't have a mission by which that person could get behind. So as an employer hiring that generation of employee, you need to make sure you understand how they think and what's important to them, and provide them with something they can sink their teeth into that they believe is making a difference. If you don't do that, you'll lose that person to something else because they get disinterested and they move on.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, and I think it's important for a business owner to understand that because, like you said, it's expensive to hire an employee and train them and then lose them.
Sure.
So if you find a way to keep them engaged, keep them fulfilled, I think it's important. With the youth that you're working with, you've worked with in the past, are you finding that more of these youth are becoming entrepreneurial, or are they looking for the 9-to-5?
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
big time.
I'm seeing that too.
That's a great thing too, because you can never dream big enough.
Yeah.
Number one.
There's no caps.
And as Dr. Van Hook says, you can dream it, you can achieve it. Period. Yeah. And I'm flabbergasted by the creativity and the wherewithal that this generations coming up has. I'm a perfect student of that. My office, as we're sitting here talking, is getting a new phone system put in it, right? And I did that for 20 years. And I'm trying to put my hands in everything. I said, you know what? Every time I do that, it just gets all screwed up. So I'm backing out. I got my millennials in there right now, putting in this new VoIP system with all these bells and whistles. I don't understand. And by the time I'm done here and we've done this, I go back. It's gonna be done. And
nice.
I didn't do anything about it. But this reminded me to say one thing about businesses and your employees and the types of people that will generate success is having a good range of people age-wise that'll appeal to different groups. Obviously I'm 56 years old. I can appeal to the older group of folks. I know the skill set to take a situation that's pretty tense and break it down. I'm probably not as good as my 22-year-old daughter is at taking a person, first-time home buyer who's 28, 30 years old and who's got all technology bound. She can relate with them as well. So
right.
One of the successes that I think we have is that we have a myriad of ages which relate to different people.
Yeah.
Well,
there's that connection. There's that ability to completely understand what you're feeling. If you're 22 and you're talking to a 25-year-old, you're talking the same language, and I think that helps.
There's a big pocket of the youth that are not entrepreneurial driven, and there's a big pocket of youth that really don't have a direction or guidance, and they float to the surface fast. So I think we have a responsibility to our society as leaders. When you see one of those people, spend some time with them to get them redirected to something that they're interested in that they can. I mean, I look at my daughter. I keep having to say, but she got a taste of what this business is all about. And says, I want in. I'm good. Well, all of her friends that are the same age group are not as driven. They're not doing things that would excite them, and they're probably somewhere in life that they would prefer to be different. Right? You know what I mean?
Haven't found their passion yet. Haven't found their...
Well, but it's our job as business owners and community leaders.
Parents,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the top of the list. Parents, business leaders, to reach out to those people when we see them and try to make a difference in their life. Just, a little nudge, nothing huge, but if they want to take it, they will. If they're interested, they will. You know. And you're right. So I do see a lot of students have the entrepreneurial spirits evidenced by looking at all the things they're doing, even at the high school level, in Rotaract clubs that we have called Rotaract, part of Rotary.
Like it.
Yeah, they're raising money to plant trees. They're raising money to get a water filtration system in Africa. They're raising money, and they have full organizations, elected officers, the whole ball of wax.
Yeah, and those are the kids inspiring other kids, and hopefully they're witnessing that. That's wonderful. So we're going to go to a break in just a minute. When we come back, I want to talk about. We talked off air at the beginning of the show about a meeting that you had last night with an individual and what they were saying, and it was a good lesson for business owners, and we're going to come back to that. So you're listening to the Ask Brien Show. I have Steve Korn. As we go out to commercials, Steve, share your information as far as contact. How can they reach you?
Awesome. Thank you. Newhall Escrow Company on Lyons Avenue. Phone number is 661-259-3450 or www.newhallescrow.com.
Perfect. Sounds great. You're listening to Ask Brien on your hometown station, KHTS 98.1 FM. We'll be right back.
Come join me, Arif Halby, for Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Every Tuesday at noon, we uncover ways to help you manage your money, get out of debt, and prepare for your retirement. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Are you not sure if you can retire yet? Listen to us and learn about tips for savings, retirement strategies, and so much more. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour on your hometown station, KHTS.
Don and Gino here. So we know you want to have fun learning about real estate and finance. You're going to want to tune in this Saturday, 9 a.m. to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here on your hometown station. Hot topics, as always, guiding you to personal and financial wellness. And that's right, you don't want to miss it. So again, this Saturday, 9 a.m., and then we replay it online Sunday, 9 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. right here on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. Join us.
We'd like to thank our advertisers and readers for their loyal support since 1991.
Linda and Mo Hafizi, owners of our Valley's two leading magazines, Elite and the Magazine of Santa Clarita.
The only magazine in our valley mailed to 80,000 homes and businesses every month, with over 250 pages of community news and features.
Discover how the Magazine of Santa Clarita can help your business. Call 294-4444.
Superior quality is second nature to us. Just ask our advertisers.
City of Hope is a world leader in cancer research and treatment. And there's a City of Hope community practice location right here in Santa Clarita, eliminating a major barrier in the fight against cancer: distance to quality care. Santa Clarita benefits from City of Hope's compassionate care and renowned clinical expertise. Find out more at cityofhope.org/Santa Clarita or call 661-799-1999.
Welcome back to the Ask Brien Show. I'm your host, Patti Handy. Today, Peter is out. I'm in here with Steve Korn from Newhall Escrow. We're talking about leadership and networking, and if you're a business owner, how to launch your business, reaching out to our young adults and empowering them and teaching them and leading them. Lots of great conversation here. If you're just tuning in, the podcast of the show will be on the KHTS website or hometownstation.com website. You could listen to the entire show, which I would encourage you to do because it's been really very, very good. So earlier, and we're going to talk in the last short segment here about this conversation that we started out earlier, you had met a gentleman at an event last night who, I'll let you share the story, but had a opinion, so to speak, from a global perspective. And there's a lesson here for those who are regional. And I think that's a lesson for business owners. So share your experience that we talked about.
So I introduced myself to a gentleman last night. I heard him talking about a local real estate brokerage in town. And I know that there's been some leadership changes. Our community, real estate wise, is in a significant state of change right now. A lot of things happening, and it's typical. Nothing out of the ordinary, and nothing for me to be alarmed with. But it's normal and natural. But I had heard that there was some new leadership at a company out in town, and I was listening to this guy talking, and I assumed that he was with that company. I didn't know what he was, but he was talking at a level that led me to believe he wasn't local. So I introduced myself to him, and he told me who he was, and I asked him, well, what are you, manager or franchise, owner? What do you? No, I'm a franchisee. Oh, okay, cool. And I was hearing him talking about his perspective on the real estate industry from a global perspective. I mean, obviously, to me, I understood exactly where he was coming from as a entrepreneur owner, meaning that he makes his decisions from a global level. Multiple offices, multiple cities, different markets. And so he's looking at data that he uses to make decisions. And it may not be granular data, but it's data he relies upon, or metrics he relies upon to make big decisions. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's cool, but it may not be. I countered that, but actually with my perspective on the market, which was more granular or more locally focused. He says, well, give me an example. And I said, well, our market stalled right now. We're like in a real estate market stall. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, there's typically about 60 or 70% more deals happening right now than there are. And he says, well, why do you think that is? And I said, well, because there's not enough inventory for our homeowners that want to move over or down, empty nesters, that kind of thing, or, from 2-story to 1-story because of bad knees, you know what I mean? Move down to or over to. And therefore, because of no inventory, he goes, well, what do you mean no inventory? Well, the inventory's on the market now. It's been sitting there. If you do any analysis, you'll know that most of the inventory now, as low as it is probably either overpriced, in poor condition, or in a bad location, or a combination of all three. Therefore, it sits there, right? Until they either fix it up. They can't do anything about the location, but they can sure fix it up, lower the price, what they got to do. But people are just a little bit unrealistic. He goes, interesting. He says, well, I never thought, I didn't see it that way. I look at the growth pattern, percentages, year over year. I see trends. He's looking at trends.
But looking at them globally.
Right. Looking at trends. And what that tells me, he's just skimming over the top of what I think he should be looking at.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Now, I believe there's a mix of both that's necessary, but really you can't ignore what's happening locally.
Right.
Which is a good lesson to anybody listening to this that has in their own industry a similar set of circumstances, because it's all related. Whatever if you're in the automotive industry, or you're in the insurance industry, or you're some other commodity, you have trends to look at. What's happening local?
What's happening in your backyard?
Yeah, that's for sure. You asked me a long time ago in this conversation what was a part of Newhall Escrow's success. It's paying attention to what's happening in our community.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm a student of what's happening abroad. I get it. But what's happening locally is really what the key is.
So if you're a franchise owner as well, because it's working for somebody in Texas versus Alabama versus San Diego, they're not going to all follow the same.
Proof in the pudding. How many big franchises have you known come to our town that have failed? You know what I mean? We're successful other places, but coming here it didn't work.
Right.
Right. That one famous location, that restaurant location on
Town Center Drive.
Yeah.
The infamous.
Yeah.
I think it's haunted.
Yeah. Well, let's hope for EMC Seafood it comes around. I love that place. It'll be good. But think about it. Think about the national chains that have come and gone because they just for some reason the combination of things didn't work out.
Yeah. This community is a different.
Can you imagine? What was that upscale market that we had one time? I forget the name of it. It was like a Whole Foods before Whole Foods was Whole Foods.
Like a Gilson's?
Well, it was kind of like that. It was over on where Valley Produce is now, but they came in and went. Oh, it was anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. I can't remember the name of it.
Bristol Farms.
Yeah.
That's Newport Beach, Bristol Farms. The line's out the door. I mean, that place is crazy good. You know what I mean? But it just didn't survive here.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Right.
Which I know there's many, but just as an example. So.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And I think it's, sort of the overall message here is to, know your environment, know your know your demographic, know your audience, your client, customer, know your employee, right? If your employee is a certain age bracket, certain generation, what fuels them, what feeds them. So what can you do as an employer, as a leader, to help fertilize that? How do
meet
you
their needs?
How do you meet their needs and then help them build to become, let them replace you someday as the owner.
Sure.
If that's your
quicker than better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the topic of leadership and personal development is something that is somewhat overlooked. I think most corporations, it's all about just getting the job done and getting in there and getting your head down, buried in the desk and doing your job and getting out and going home. And I think the more that we take responsibility for that leadership role and really growing our employees to become the best that they can be, I think that is so advantageous on so many levels. I mean, that's
probably one of the big differences between Newhall Escrow's success and my competitors, because I know that I spend a lot of time in that arena. I know how important it is. Selfishly, it makes me feel good. And if I was to put my finger on one thing, it would be self-improvement, leadership development, and bringing that back to our community and our employees to make them have them enjoy their job and enjoy coming to work and make a difference in the lives of others. I think that's key.
Yeah. I have to give a shout out to Fred Arnold, who's the owner of American Family Funding, where I work. He's a very big proponent of personal development, and he's been generous enough to hire a coach who comes in and works with us individually, one-on-one, privately, pays for that for us. And this coach we've been working with for probably a year now, maybe a little bit more. And it's wonderful. He's a life coach out here. And Alex Urbina, he's got his own show here. And he's made a huge impact on us, not just from a business standpoint, but personally.
Sure.
And the happier we are personally, the happier we are at work. So we're down to our last minute. We're going to close the show out. Thank you so much, Steve. You've been
My
wonderful. Again, real quickly, your information.
Yeah, I'd like to give an offer out to those people that are wondering how to get a start in giving back. So if anybody is interested in wondering where they can go to get the most impact and giving back, feel free to give me a call. Steve Korn, Newhall Escrow Company at 661-259-3450. I'll be happy to give you a few minutes, talk about what interests you, give you some ideas where to get started, and introduce you to some people that you can possibly make a difference with.
Fantastic. I love that offer. Thank you for joining us to Ask Brien on your hometown station, KHTS 98.1 FM. Until next week. Bye now.